stop scrolling for a second because what you're about to hear sounds fake, but it's completely real. This unbelievably cute, soft-looking, green little creature is not animation, not AI, not a cartoon, and definitely not a Pokémon. It is a real living animal called Costasiella kuroshimae, better known as the leaf sheep. And yes, it really looks like a tiny sheep grazing on grass, except it lives underwater. When I first saw this animal, I honestly thought someone was joking. It has a chubby green body, tiny black eyes, and two little antennae on its head that look exactly like sheep ears. It looks like a children's cartoon character that somehow escaped into the ocean. I wanted to make a video about it simply because it looks ridiculous. But the more I learned about this creature, the more I realized this animal is not just cute. It is one of the strangest animals on Earth. This slug doesn't just look like a plant. In a very real way, it lives like one. The leaf sheep is part of a group of sea slugs called sacoglossans. These slugs have a superpower that sounds impossible. They can steal parts from plants and use them to survive. Specifically, they steal chloroplasts, the tiny structures inside plant cells that perform photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process plants use to turn sunlight into energy. Animals are not supposed to do this, but these slugs do. When a sacoglossan sea slug eats algae, it doesn't digest everything. Instead, it carefully keeps the chloroplasts alive and stores them inside its own body cells. Then those stolen chloroplasts keep working, producing energy from sunlight, just like they did inside the plant. This process is called kleptoplasty, which literally means stealing plastids. To understand how crazy this is, imagine if you ate spinach one time, and after that, you could stand in the sun and get energy for months without eating again. That's basically what these slugs are doing. Some species of these sea slugs can survive for days using photosynthesis. Others can survive for weeks. And one species, Biography, can survive for up to 9 months on sunlight and carbon dioxide alone without eating any food at all. At first, scientists thought this was similar to what corals do. Corals live with tiny algae inside their bodies, and the algae provide food through photosynthesis. But this is different. Corals keep the whole algae alive. Sacoglossans don't. They only steal the chloroplasts. They take just one part of the plant cell and somehow make it work inside an animal body. This should not be possible. Chloroplasts normally depend on the plant cell's nucleus to survive. The nucleus provides instructions and proteins that keep the chloroplast healthy and safe. Without that support, chloroplasts should break down quickly. But inside these slugs, they don't. They keep working for months. Scientists were so confused by this that for years they thought the slugs must have stolen plant genes too. They suspected horizontal gene transfer, where genes jump from one species to another. That would mean plant DNA somehow became part of an animal's genome. That would be huge. But after sequencing the slug's DNA, scientists found no strong evidence for this. The slugs didn't steal plant genes, they just stole chloroplasts. So how do they survive without all the extra plant machinery? One answer is behavior. These slugs are not passive. They move into shade when the light is too strong. They change their position in the water. Some of them can fold parts of their bodies over themselves like a blanket to block excess sunlight. Others group chloroplasts tightly together so the outer ones protect the inner ones. Some even have natural pigments that act like sunscreen. And on top of that, they seem to choose algae with especially tough and stable chloroplasts. It's like they know which plants have the best solar panels. Now let's talk about how small these animals are, because this surprised me a lot. The leaf sheep only grows to about 7 millimeters long. That's smaller than a fingernail. Other sacoglossans can be larger, up to about 5 centimeters, but many are tiny. They live in shallow coastal waters around the world, especially in warm tropical areas. You can find them in seagrass beds, coral reefs, and tide pools where algae grows. Many of them look like leaves, seaweed, or lettuce floating in the water. This makes them excellent at hiding from predators. Elysia crispata, also called the lettuce sea slug, looks like a piece of ruffled salad. Elysia chlorotica looks like a bright green leaf, and Costasiella kuroshimae, the leaf sheep, looks like a tiny underwater farm animal. For a long time, scientists didn't realize these slugs were actually photosynthesizing. They knew the slugs ate algae, and they knew the slugs were green, but they didn't know why. In 1965, scientists finally saw chloroplasts inside slug cells under a microscope. In the 1970s, they confirmed that those chloroplasts were still active and producing energy. To prove it, scientists ran experiments. They kept some slugs in the light and others in the dark. Slugs with light survived longer and lost less weight. Slugs without light lost weight much faster. Light clearly mattered. Photosynthesis was helping them survive. Now, here's where things go from strange to absolutely insane. Some of these sea slugs can cut off their own heads on purpose and grow an entirely new body. Yes, really. This behavior is called autotomy, which means self-amputation. Many animals do this. Lizards drop their tails, crabs drop claws, octopuses drop arms, but those are extra parts. These slugs drop their entire body, including the heart and digestive system, and keep only the head. In a 2021 study, scientists observed this process in detail. They noticed that these slugs have a special weak line in their neck called a breakage plane. It's like a built-in dotted line. Over time, the slug slowly separates its head from its body. About a day later, the head fully detaches and crawls away on its own. The body dies and decomposes. The head survives. At first, the head has no heart, no stomach, no intestines, and yet it moves, it reacts, it eats. And within days, it starts to regrow everything it lost. First, the wound closes. Then a new heart forms. Then the digestive system grows back. In about 2 to 3 weeks, the slug is completely whole again. Some slugs can do this more than once. Why would any animal do this? Scientists don't think it's mainly for escaping predators. The process is too slow. Instead, it may help the slug get rid of parasites, damaged organs, or tangled body parts. It's like hitting a biological reset button. But how does the head survive long enough to regrow a body? Once again, the answer seems to be photosynthesis. The head still contains stolen chloroplasts. Those chloroplasts keep producing energy from sunlight, while the slug has no digestive system. The slug is literally being kept alive by plant machinery inside its animal cells. How it survives without a heart is still not fully understood. But clearly, this animal is doing something completely outside the normal rules we expect animals to follow. Sea slugs like this blur the line between plant and animal. They challenge our ideas about what animals are capable of. They show that evolution doesn't follow simple categories. It experiments. It combines systems. It breaks rules we thought were unbreakable. And to really understand how something like this exists, you have to look deeper than just biology. You have to look at physics, chemistry, and math. The same rules that govern machines, energy, and systems also govern living things. Evolution has been solving engineering problems for millions of years. This tiny, adorable, leaf-shaped slug is not just cute. It is proof that life is far stranger, more creative, and more powerful than we usually imagine. And if this tiny sea slug just melted your brain, imagine what other impossible animals are still waiting for you. Nature is hiding stories stranger than science fiction, and we uncover them one by one right here. So don't let the algorithm bury real wonder. Like this video, share it with someone who thinks animals are boring, and subscribe to Animals Biography. Because once you see how wild life really is, there's no going back.